In this video today, I'm going to be showing you how I'm going to be setting up my camera trap to photograph badgers. Now I'm lucky enough to have permission to be on some private land with a wealth of wildlife, including roe deer, tawny owls, barn owls, and obviously today we're photographing badgers, or trying to photograph badgers. So behind me in this clearing here is quite a large badger set. They've got huge expanses of fields to go and hunt and look for earthworms. There's also another set in a distant woodland just over the way there. So I thought I'd bring you along today and show you how I'm setting up my camera trap. I've been watching some of Neil Jernigan, I think his name is, on YouTube, and he's been getting some amazing videos and photos of bobcats. And although we might not get any bobcats, well, I know we won't get any bobcats in this video, I thought it'd be quite interesting for you to come along, see how I'm setting up my camera trap, see how to look for some signs around all the field edges. There's quite a lot of trails leading through fence lines, things like that, and it often takes just a little bit of an eye just to look for them. They're pretty easy to spot. A lot of the time the grass is flattened out, leading up to, as I say, usually a barbed wire fence where they've gone underneath it somehow. And here, this badger set I know is active, so it's just behind over there. There's an entrance, I think you can hopefully see there, well, where they come out underneath the barbed wire. So the set is just over in that woodland just behind over there, and this is where they come out at night to feed and look around for bedding, all sorts of things like that. So it's a big field behind the camera behind me. So without further ado, we're going to get on, we're going to look through some of the kit that we're going to use, and also have a look at the setup here in terms of the flashes, and also where I put the camera housing. So, as you can see here, as I was mentioning in the previous clip, we've got an entrance that comes along here over a bit of a mound where they've obviously dug some soil out over the earlier months. And I know that they come through here because there is some badger fur actually stuck in some of the barbed wire there. So often if you're looking for signs and things, have a look also on the barbed wire, because sometimes their fur, it's quite coarse and wiry, will get stuck in some of the knotted barbs. This setup has been out for a few days now. I have only captured a picture of a fox, which I'll put in now. No badgers. I have had a trail camera clip of a badger looking at the camera but actually not going through the beam. Here I've just cable tied some old grass. There's quite a lot of long grasses here that it's quite naturalised, this field. So I've just cable tied that to cover up the black tripod legs, and then this is an old pelly case. I'm sure many of you have seen these. They're just kind of a hard protective case for cameras. Usually they don't have big holes in the front, but when you're camera trapping they do. So here I've got a big hole entrance for the camera to look through, and I've got this kind of plastic shield on the top and the sides, just if we did get any rain, but fingers crossed for the next few days it's going to be nice bright sunshine. And then, although the pelly casing and these shields here are spray painted green, I've also got this kind of real tree camouflage scrime netting. I think this is from Wildlife Watching Supplies. Really, really great. I mean, from a distance you can't even see it's here. So it's just more things to make it look a bit more natural. So now that you can see a bit of the camouflage, I think you might be able to see here, this is where the flashes will go. There's another one just over the other side. And as again, just a bit of dead grass, cable tied to some wooden posts, just offsets the flashes a little bit and camouflages them a little bit better. So we're going to go ahead and put the camera in now so we can see the composition. So this is the pelly case after I've taken back this scrime camouflage covering. If we open it just up here, it's, like I say, a protective casing. Usually doesn't have a big hole in the front because these are kind of for travel cases, that sort of thing. Inside I've got some foam. Now this just keeps the camera settled in this position so it doesn't have to move around or anything like that. In order to turn the flashes on, I've got a transmitter from Camtraptions, and I've also got the Camtraptions PIR sensor. Mine's the version 2. There is also a version of 3 which is wireless. I'm just having to go with this first to see how I get on, and then perhaps potentially I'll be getting the version 3, which is a wireless transmitter, so I don't have to have it wired to the camera. This can just be almost like a hot shoe on there, and then I can put the sensor wherever I like. But for now, I'm just going to get this set up, put it into the composition I like. So now that I've set the camera into position, it's now time to install the PIR. This one is from Camtraptions. It's a really good little device. It's got these little sliding kind of arms doors, which I think they actually somehow screw from the bottom, but I just tend to twist them like this. So you've got all your settings here for when, how sensitive, all the different time settings that you need on there to set your sensor up. It's got a little port there for your cable that will connect the PIR sensor rather to the camera. So I'm just going to go put that on this magic arm that's just down here, and so give me 2 seconds and I'll get that screwed into position. So now we'll have a look in terms of settings. So I'm just going to plug the other end of the cable that comes from the sensor, and that will just go into the side there, just like so. Now we'll switch the camera on and we'll see what settings I'm using. So hopefully you might be able to see that it's quite bright, but I've got it at f11, ISO 400, and then it's on manual focus, so there's no kind of hunting on the aspect of the camera lens trying to find where the focus is, and also it's on aperture priority. So this is because I'm hoping for most of my activities come during the night, so I will kind of want to get a little bit of the sky, which is just in the left hand side of the frame, so we can see that it's a night, but it gives a little bit more better exposure for the environment. So I'll keep those settings as possible as they are, and we'll go on to setting up the flashes. So in terms of flashes, I've got one SB28 here, and most camera trappers will know this is a really great flash for its long standby times. As you can see, it's in standby now, and also using the Camtraptions receiver for the flashes. So the other transmitter, which is in the box, will help trigger these flashes. I've also got another flash as well, so it's always better, in my opinion, to have at least more than one flash. It depends on what you're doing, obviously, but for me 2 is a lot better than 1. There's some circumstances where it's different, so for example if you're trying to backlit a subject, but here I'm trying to get a nice even lighting. So I will go and set this up over there. You won't be able to tell, but that is my flash stand, which is covered in that dry grass as you saw before. And I'm also going to put this flash in a housing that I've made. The other one has not got a housing just yet, and that is for a plastic bag to go over the top of, but it's going to be quite dry, so hopefully it will be all right. So now that the flashes are both in place and I've just turned on the Camtraptions sensor, you can see by the little red dots that flash, I think it's 5 flashes initially show that it's over sort of 90% battery, and then after that there'll be 3 short flashes to tell you that the camera's actually on. So we're just going to go ahead now, and I'm just going to check the exposures before we end up leaving the scene, and fingers crossed we might get something. So I'm just going to test the sensor and see where it's where it will trigger, because obviously I want that sensor, when the badger comes through, I want the sensor to catch it just at the right time. So I'm just going to check in my pulley case. Yep, that looks like good. So it's giving me 1/125th, so I'll be able to see the effects of the flash. So I'll just take an initial exposure. Both the flashes went off there. Yeah, that's looking really good there. I think if I just push this a little bit closer and just check the focus. As I said, always manual focus. Just stops for any hunting, as I say. So I will just test that again. Flashes both went off. Yep, that looks really good there. And now what I'm going to do you just see whereabouts on the trail it actually fires the camera. So that's a bit too wide. So yeah, might just move this a tad along. Perfect, that's exactly where we want it. Now if I check on the camera I can see, yeah, that's exactly where we would like the badger to be. So we're going to go ahead, wrap this camera strap up, cable tie it down a little bit, and we'll be back in a few days time to see if we've got anything on the camera.